The number one reasons why doctors are not rich. Doctors are some of the highest paid professionals in the world. So why are they struggling financially? Why are they not wealthy? Hi, I'm Dr. Shamim Nazir. Today I want to talk about why doctors struggle financially and what can we do about it. First, there's the illusion that high income equals wealth. Of course, doctors are making a good income, but it doesn't mean they're wealthy. A high income is just one part of the equation. Financial security and wealth is built on smart financial choices. So what's happening in the doctor lifestyle that is causing this problem? Well, let's get into that. Number one, as we all know, doctors graduate with a lot of debt. They're starting with a negative net worth. Most doctors today are graduating with $200,000 or more of student debt. That is a lot of money. It's a big hole to dig yourself out of. So I think that's number one. We've got to be more mindful of how much we borrow to get our education. Surely doctors can make good money when they get out, but it takes time to pay off that debt. And we need to be very conservative in how we borrow so that we're not digging ourselves a big hole. So that's one reason why doctors are starting behind. And then when they get out of their residency or fellowship, they're often taking on more debt because now they've got to move, they've got to get a house or a car, perhaps they're starting a family. There's a lot of new expenses, and that's getting piled on to the educational debt. So it's really important to start conservative, borrow as little as you can, and be really aggressive about paying that off. And I know it's really hard to do when you're getting out in the real world and you want to just get started living your life, but you've got to be on top of that or it's going to get you behind. So number one is that debt. Then what happens is that lifestyle creep. Everybody wants a little bit of something nice, and it seems okay because you're getting a good income and you feel like you can afford it, and you can. But if you keep doing that and you keep adding on and you get slightly bigger house, a nicer car, and then this and then that, and it becomes a lot more stuff after a while. And suddenly you have a lot more expenses than you started off with. And this is called lifestyle creep. You're just adding on more liabilities, more expenses, and basically using all of your income to live your life. And you don't want to do that. You want to be very conservative on how you're living so that you can have that buffer when there is a need or an emergency. And you can also, of course, do the next thing, which is invest. Investing early and often is something that does get missed a lot because when you're young, you don't feel the pressure. You feel like retirement is really far away and you don't need to get started. But investing early is very, very important because investing takes time. Investments just don't grow overnight. They compound over decades. And so the sooner we start, the better. And as doctors, we're already starting late because we didn't start in our 20s like most people do. We start in our 30s. So being very aggressive about starting as early as possible, if you can, in your residency or in medical school, to start putting some money away into retirement accounts is going to yield dividends over the long haul. And the next thing we do when we do get out and we think about investing is we hire a professional, which is great, but it's just like hiring a doctor or a physical trainer. If you don't do the work and you don't do the exercise, if you don't take care of your own health, you're not going to get the results you want. Any professional can only do so much. They've got to have your buy-in and your cooperation. And so too often we just lean on professionals as a way of fixing the problem. But the problem is with us. We've got to be responsible for our expenses and our investing in order for that professional to even help us. And that comes down to complacency. We think we have a lot of time and retirement's really far away. We've got a great income, a great job. We have job security. So we don't really have to worry about these things. We don't have to worry too much about how much we're spending, how much we're investing. It'll be fine. But things happen. I have seen a lot of doctors get into financial trouble because of an injury, an illness, or because they're burned out, because they're tired, they're getting older, whatever it is. There's a lot of things that can happen in life. And as doctors, we start later and we work really hard. We work long hours, we're missing time with family, with loved ones. You know, we get burned out, we get tired of it pretty quickly. And so that span of your life where you can work that hard to maintain your lifestyle is not that long. And that is why it's important to stay stay conservative and pay off that debt early, reduce your expenses, and get educated about your choices and your finances. Don't just rely on a professional. How do we address the financial crisis that's happening in the healthcare industry? Well, number one, the debt. Borrow as little as possible and pay it off as aggressively as possible. And try not to take on new debt when you graduate, whether that be a house or a car. And then number two, don't let that lifestyle creep up on you. Don't keep adding expenses, especially before you even get settled and pay down that debt. You cannot afford to add on more liabilities and more expenses. Number three, invest often and invest early. Time is your best friend when you're investing. You need those investments to grow over time, and you've got to start, even if with a little bit, start early. That's the most important thing. And then number four, get educated. Don't just rely on other professionals to do things for you. It's just like your health. You've got to get educated about it. You've got to be engaged. You've got to be involved, and you've got to cooperate with the process. And that takes your interest and involvement. And number five, just don't be complacent. All of these things require you to stay alert and attentive and be an informed participant in your own financial journey. You being complacent, thinking everything is going to just be okay or take care of itself, is going to land you into trouble. So be attentive and attuned to your financial choices, financial education, and talk to your financial planners or other professionals on a regular basis so you can get educated about how this actually works. And if you want to get into alternative investments, you can check out our website and see how those work, because we do a lot of things in alternatives because I think they're a little better than what we usually invest in. But there's a lot of stuff out there, and that's what's important, is about getting educated, finding the right resources, creating networks, and networking with your peers and other professionals so you can learn more. And I know that's really hard to do when you're a busy professional like a doctor, but you've got to keep trying, even if it's a little bit at a time. Keep going and don't get complacent. So I hope that was helpful. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe and leave us a comment on what other topics you'd like to see covered. I'm Dr. Nazir. See you next time.